Okay, it's time to play some fighting games and answer some questions. This time, it's Street Fighter V. It wasn't going to be Street Fighter V. I had Dragon Ball replays, but my save got corrupted because of a power short. So, all those replays are gone. Most depressingly of all is Android 21 is an unlockable character, and she's not unlocked anymore because of the corrupted file. So now I have to play the story mode again to unlock her, which is extremely depressing. It is not an enjoyable experience, and you have to beat the story like 3 fucking times as well. So that's upsetting. So it's gonna be Street Fighter today. At least I played Street Fighter, so I had replays for this to use. That's me, it's Ed. Look, my name's on this one. Wow, incredible. This will probably be easier to follow than Dragon Ball is, to be fair, given it's a little bit more grounded, and there's not 6 characters doing shit at the same time. Anyway, so first up, when sending VoDs, what are the generally ideal qualities for a VoD? Basically, just that it's close, and a game that you lost are ideal. Someone said long, close loss. The length doesn't really matter so much, if I'm being honest. I've turned a fucking 10-minute game into a 50-minute video before. Like, if the game is, like, close, there's generally enough to talk about regardless. It's not the end of the world if it's a close game that's a win. It's just, it's ideally a close game. A stomp in either direction is usually pretty limited in what you can really talk about, because if you're doing the stomping, you're probably not making too many mistakes. And if you're getting stomped, there's usually so much going wrong that there's still not much to say about it. So ideally it's a close game that you lost, but really close is the only, I would say, necessary part of it. As long as it's not a stomp either way, it's pretty much good. Though ideally it is a close game you lost. And I guess that being longer is better, strictly speaking, because there's more chance of you having made a mistake if it's longer, but it's not really a necessary part of it. So then, next up, just keep playing Brig/Zen. Dropped about 400 SR with other supports, and I am miserable. They wrote miserable in all caps, so you know it's pretty serious. Now, look. I've complained many times about how people get really fucking weird about video games, and this is like one of them. One of the reasons. Like, if you're unhappy playing the characters that you're playing, don't play those characters. You know? Like, it's meant to be a fun experience. That's it, you know? Doesn't really matter. Like, if you're not happy playing those characters, then don't play them. It's a video game, it's meant to be fun, you know? Also, like, you can climb playing whoever the fuck you want. It doesn't matter who you're playing, as long as you're good at the heroes you're playing. That's all that really matters. Skill with hero is greater than all other possible aspects. Like, team comp-wise, meta pick-wise, doesn't matter. The most important aspect is that you're good at the character. Everything else is secondary. So just play like who you enjoy playing. If the person you enjoy playing happens to be an S-tier character, all the better. But if you hate the S-tier characters, don't play the S-tier characters. I'm a big advocate for just playing whatever the fuck you want. I can tell you Ed's not the best character in this game, but he's the one I'm playing. It's just how it's gonna be. Guilty Gear Strive, that's coming out. You know who I'm gonna play? I'm gonna play fucking Ramlethal. Is Ramlethal gonna be the best character in that game? Not a chance in hell, brother, but she's gonna be the character I play because she's cute. Why do I play Android 21? She's hot. That's it. Though, people have started changing their mind about Android 21. I've seen her creeping up the tier lists as time has gone by. But, like, couldn't care less. Like, I like the character. That's it. Android 21 is also a very wholesome character, on top of being hot, if you do play the story, though I don't recommend it. Maybe just go, like, watch the cutscenes instead. There are some really good, like, niche cutscenes you can encounter in the story mode that almost make it worth it. For example, there's this very good cutscene where Krillin is talking to, I believe, Yamcha. And Krillin is talking about how Android 21 is hot. And Yamcha is like, man, you've really got a type, don't you, Krillin, for those synthetic ladies. And then they're like, wait, I can feel a chill run down my spine, and then it just cuts back to Android 18 watching them in the distance. There are some very good cutscenes. There's another one where we find out why the Great Saiyaman is as ridiculous as he is. Because there's an interaction where Gohan can have with Ginyu, where Ginyu will do all the dramatic poses, and then Gohan will go, man, those poses are so cool. And then it all comes together. That's why he does the stupid poses as Great Saiyaman, because he was like 8 when he saw the Ginyu Force, and he was like, dude, those poses are sick. You know, they were like killing his friends and all, so that was obviously not ideal, but the poses were pretty sick. Anyway, so there's some nice cutscenes. It's good, you know. Just the playing of the game, the story mode is terrible. Anyway, so the moral of the story is play whatever characters you like. Don't worry about anything else. Okay, cool. Next, how do you win as a support when your DPS/tanks aren't pulling their weight? Carry them harder. I mean, what do you want anybody to say about the matter, right? You know, the funny thing is that people say this as if, like, their role is specifically the only one that really suffers from this, right? But you can easily transplant all the other roles into any position, and somebody will be making this post. How do you carry as a tank when your support DPS aren't carrying their weight? How do you carry as DPS when your supports and tanks aren't carrying their weight? The answer is you carry more weight. If they can't carry their weight, you have to carry their weight for them. That's kind of the whole point, is that you're proving you're good enough to consistently win the game. What your teammates are doing, by and large, is completely irrelevant to that fact. As long as you are playing well consistently, that is the only thing that matters. You will climb over time doing that. Yeah, so the answer is carry harder. Supports in particular, I find, have a tendency to get lazy about this kind of thing. We will talk about this more later. And it's, you know, I believe that it is true that support is more dependent on the other roles doing something than the tank and DPS are. But by the same token, like, it's not really by a massive amount. There's still plenty you can do on all of the supports to carry a game. Mercy players are typically the worst for this. To be fair, I don't exactly help with this a lot of the time, where I'm like, man, you know, you make a good team, great, you make a bad team, average, you know? So that's partly my fault. But, like, there's stuff you can do to carry a game as Mercy, because you can get a res on somebody in a really important situation. You can damage boost somebody a really clutch moment, you can get fucking max value out of your Valkyrie, again, damage boosting people. Basically, you damage boost people a lot. But, like, there's stuff you can do with all supports. What do you do if you're playing Anna? Easy, baby. Throw that fucking bio grenade in there. Woohoo! If they can't heal those tanks are gonna die, and you're gonna win the game. And it's gonna feel really good for you. It's not gonna feel so good for them. They're gonna be unhappy about it. But fuck the other team. I don't care about those assholes. Hello, my son, who is slightly corporeal. So, yeah, the answer is, when they're not carrying their weight, you carry their weight. And your own weight. That's where it gets hard. You know, you gotta carry yourself and then other people as well. But that's just the nature of climbing in a team-based video game, dog. If you don't like the fact that your teammates can do bad sometimes, play like a single-player multiplayer game. Play a fighting game. Play a card game. No teammates there. Then you have nobody to blame but yourself, which is, of course, exactly what will happen every time. You won't look for excuses in other places as well. No, no. Fighting game players, infamous for their extreme lack of salt. Everything's always perfectly fair. Anyway, so moving on. I'm trash. How do I get good? So, getting good is something that you never really perceive happening, I'll start with. Improvement is only ever something you observe in hindsight, where you look back and you're like, man, I used to be so bad at this video game. So you will never, like, feel like you're improving at the time, I'll just say now, so that you don't have expectations of waking up one day and being like, wow, I'm good suddenly. It doesn't work like that. It's only ever in hindsight you observe it. But, so, the problem that most people have when trying to improve is that you have to approach it from a constructive manner. But most people approach getting good as just like, well, I'm just trying to improve. And they don't look at it any more granularly than that. They try and take, like, the biggest picture approach possible, where they're like, well, how do I get better? Win more games. They set really nebulous and strange goals for themselves that don't really help. When, in reality, the better play is to set lots of micro goals for yourself that you can try and achieve. Suppose you play, fucking... Reinhardt, and you think to yourself, well, you know, I'm really bad at shield management, so I need to try and improve that. So you try and set, like, a goal for yourself in the games you play, where you're like, this whole game, I'm not gonna let my shield health go below 400. You know, you set yourself some kind of restriction that you aim for. Suppose you're like Anna, and you have a habit of just kind of like autopilot chucking out your cooldowns randomly, so you think to yourself, I'm not gonna throw my bio grenade unless I'm sure I'm gonna hit at least 2 teammates or something like that, you know. It can be anything, but you want to set yourself these goals that kind of address a problem that you have as a player, and so you can try and improve at that. You can't just say to yourself something arbitrary like, I am bad at X, I need to improve at that. That's too nebulous. You need to set something more strict with yourself. You need to think to yourself, well, how am I going to improve at this? And it's by doing something like that. Because if you set yourself a goal like that, you're really conscious of what you're doing the entire game, because you're trying to meet this goal that you've set for yourself. So that's like how you should approach getting good at like any kind of game, really, is just like set yourself these micro goals. Suppose you play a fighting game. This is so much easier to make examples for. And you have a habit of just getting anti-aired constantly. So you set yourself a goal for that game of, I'm not going to jump at all. I will jump 0 times during this game. I will only play ground footsies. And then this forces you to address the problem you have by setting this strict goal for yourself. And then suddenly, because you can't do what you usually do, you have to approach it from a different angle. And that's how you improve. You set these goals for yourself. Don't set really vague, nebulous goals like win more. Because, yeah, like, obviously, but that's not a productive way of looking at it. Did you see that fucking jury just fucking run? My God, she just backflipped. She's going again! She's fucking hustling. Anyway, yeah, so set, like, goals for yourself. Like, analyze, you know, yourself. What are the areas you struggle with? And then set goals for yourself that kind of help address it. Bad at positioning. Think to yourself, I'm always going to be within, like, 5 meters of something I can use as cover. Something like that, you know. Whatever problem you have, what could you do? What kind of challenge could you set that will help you address it? And then just focus on that goal. And it doesn't need to change every game, either way, by the way. You can keep, like, doing this repetitively. And you could try to start setting, like, stricter goals. Say you're Reinhardt, you're bad at shield management. You set a more lenient goal to start with, where you're like, I'm not going to let my shield break at all this game. And then when you get better at doing that, now I'm not going to let it go below 300. Then when you get better at that, you go, now I'm not going to let it go below 500. And you can keep setting, like, increasing difficulties for yourself to try and help improve yourself in this area. So that's how you should approach getting good at all things. Set real strict goals. So, next. Which abilities benefit greatly from damage boost? This is the thing I was going to talk about as well, with Mercy players getting, like, lazy, which is that the person who posted this question observed it as well, where Mercy players really only damage boost, like, low ranks anyway, they only really damage boost, like, the obviously good characters to damage boost. Like, you know, Soldier, Hanzo, Pharah. They don't damage boost like anybody else, they just, like, these are the damage boost heroes, those are the heroes I damage boost. But, like, damage boosting Winston is, like, sick as hell if Winston's in a good position. Like, Winston's gonna kill those squishy enemies real good, you know what I mean? And he is definitely not a traditionally good character to damage boost. But if the Winston's in a good spot, he's a great damage boost. So, in terms of this question, though, broadly speaking, most abilities benefit from damage boost. It's just some of them are very hard to get a damage boost on. Like, Dynamite's great to get damage boost on, but you have to be damage boosting Ashe when she throws the dynamite. Which, you know, you're not psychic, so you're not always going to get that. It's good to damage boost Fire Strike. You don't know when Reinhardt's going to Fire Strike, so you could be damage boosting Reinhardt for no reason for multiple seconds at a time, when you could have been damage boosting the Soldier who was doing something that entire time. So it can be very difficult to, like, read when your teammates are going to actually use these abilities that you want to damage boost. But, like, broadly speaking, all abilities basically do, as long as they do damage. Not everything actually benefits from damage boost. For example, Hanzo's Dragon Strike does not benefit from damage boost. What else? Turrets don't benefit from damage boost. Minefield doesn't benefit from damage boost. So, you know, all abilities do, as long as they actually can be damage boosted, basically. Which, how do you know which ability can be damage boosted? Well, you look at look it up, basically, because Blizzard is terrible at including information in-game that's actually useful. You get, like, 2 lines of dialogue explaining what your ability does, and it gives you no important numbers or stats associated with it at all. But, like, really all of them do. And, basically, I just want to encourage you, if you do play Mercy, to be prepared to damage boost literally anybody on your team. There will be times when it is correct to damage boost, like, the Ana, because you think she's about to throw Bio Grenade. She's the one that's been doing the best job of contesting the pharmacy so far, so I may as well damage boost her instead of the Widowmaker that can't click on him, you know? There will be times when it's correct to damage boost anybody. Damage boosting, it's not even necessarily correct to damage boost somebody when they're ulting, because you might see Soldier start using Tac Visor and go, oh, he's not near anybody though, dog. He's not gonna hit anybody. He's gonna get, like, line of sighted immediately. So it's not worth it to damage boost him if he's in a bad position. You're better off damage boosting somebody else. Like, you might be better off damage boosting the Reinhardt, who is not ulting, but because the enemy Reinhardt is holding his shield up to block Tac Visor, our Reinhardt is getting to just wail on him. So, you know, it's not even necessarily correct to damage boost the people that are ulting. It's very dependent on the circumstance. You really just want to damage boost whoever looks like they're in the best position to do a lot of damage. Like, when your Moira starts using Coalescence, I think it is correct to damage boost Coalescence, like, 9 times out of 10, even disregarding, like, other ultimates happening. Like, if, like, Attack Visor is happening, and Coalescence is happening, I'd rather damage boost the Coalescence, dog. Do you know why? You can't block Coalescence. It's just happening to you unless you completely break line of sight from the Moira. So, like, I'll pick the Moira over the Soldier, because it's like, guaranteed compared to the Tac Visor. Like, there's a higher potential reward for the Tac Visor, but it's, like, real dependent on both map, position, and team comp. So, just, like, you know, don't be afraid to damage boost anybody. There are times when it is correct to damage boost anybody on the team. So next, how do I deal with people who don't really understand the point of my hero? This was in regards to a Reinhardt player who was correctly identifying that you're not really meant to go back and deal with the flankers that are bullying your backline. And basically he's like, well, how do I tell people that's not my job? You can't. They won't listen. Here's the thing you need to remember about team games in general. There is no argument you can give that will be persuasive enough to change somebody's mind in the middle of the game. It is not possible to do this. People are not prepared to change their worldview over the course of like a 15-minute video game. There is no argument you can give that is persuasive enough. So it is not worth bothering, basically. If they start shit-talking you, like, Ryan, why didn't you come back? You can go, that's not my job. And you are correct, it's not your job to to appeal for the backline. It is your job to protect the front line. But, like, if then they go, you're the tank, yes it is. I've just realized my cursor's been on the screen for a while. I apologize. But we're not refilming anything. You're just gonna have to have dealt with the fact that was there. I'm sorry. So anyway, you can tell them it's not your job, and you are correct. But, like, if they then go, you're the tank, it's your job to protect the team, there is nothing you can say that will change that dude's mind. So it's not worth engaging that conversation any further. Unless you just are like me and you personally just enjoy arguing with people, which I'm a big fan of. Otherwise, there's no reason to do it. They will not change their opinion. If they keep shit-talking you for it, mute them. That's it. There's nothing you can say that will persuade them, so don't bother. Just don't bother, dog. Alright, so, next up. Girlfriend potentially colorblind based on how she plays Overwatch. Anyone else experience this? So, I just want you to know, it is exceedingly unlikely for a woman to be colorblind. Like, it is a fraction of the population is colorblind to begin with. And then it is a fraction of that fraction that are female. I believe it's something like 8% males are colorblind. And like 0 point something, like 5% of females are colorblind. So it is very strange to me that your first thought in this matter must be, she is colorblind. Though, to be fair, most people do not understand how colorblindness works. I'm colorblind, and you know what the first reaction people have to when they learn that I am colorblind is? It is to show me something and go, what color is this? How would I know what color it is? I do not see the colors correctly. They are fucked up for me. It could be fucking any color. I can tell you a stop sign is typically red because that's just like how it is. But like, if you show me like a red shirt and you're like, what color is that? I don't know. Unless you tell me it's a red shirt. But people, that's, you know, people don't understand how colorblindness works. So, to be fair, this dude probably just doesn't know women are almost certainly not colorblind. So, like, the context for this question was that the girlfriend plays Mercy, which I wonder if that was her choice, first off. But she plays Mercy either way, and he observed that she was bad at noticing where people had died on the map, and had assumed that this is a problem of them being colorblind. It is probably not. Just so you know. It's like certain maps in general are just fucked up in this way, first off. And it can just be hard to know through all the shit that's going on screen, right? Like, Overwatch is a very visually busy game. It's very fast. There's a lot going on. It can just be hard to notice these things, especially when you are not accustomed to the game, right? I observed this not that long ago when somebody watched me playing fighters and they went, how can you even tell what the fuck is going on? And to me, there's no actual visual noise happening, but that's because I know what's important on the screen because I've played the game for over 1,000 hours. You get better at parsing out the visual information happening in a game over time. So if she's new, she's just going to be bad at parsing it out. And some maps are just hard to see these things on. Right? Like, people, broadly speaking, I hear this a lot, it's really hard to... And this is true for me as well, but I'm colorblind, so, you know, whatever. But I've heard other people say this, that it's really hard to see health bars and res indicators on Ilios because it's white on white. A lot of that map is very bright, very white. Health bars are also. So, you know, it's a problem. Me, personally, I can't distinguish the difference between armor and health on and regular health on a health bar, because those are just the same color for me. So I don't know how much armor somebody has unless you tell me, pretty much, because I can't tell just by looking at the health bar. I can tell shields apart. I can't tell armor apart from regular health. Yeah, so, just so you know, she's probably not colorblind. It's just hard to parse visual information when you're unfamiliar with the game, especially when it's a very fast and active game, like Overwatch is. That's just how it be, dog. That's just how it be. Oh, good, we're at 30 minutes. I felt like we had not been here that long, but it is all lining up well. Excellent news. I am also pleased that the game did not stop when I alt-tabbed out. That's the cool thing about Ed, V-Trigger. Just throw the giant ball at them and then just walk with the ball, and they're like, oh god, oh god, oh god, what do I do? Very nice, very good. Ed's just very basic. Ed's not really the character I wanted. He was at the time when I, like, bought Street Fighter ages ago. Ed was the character I liked the most, but that was because Poison wasn't in the game yet. Poison you may know as the chick with the dick from Final Fight. So, you might be able to guess the reason that Poison is the character I actually want to play. But you have to buy all the characters that weren't in the base game in Street Fighter, and you earn in-game money at an insultingly slow pace. Such is life. Anyway, so last question for this week. Why does Mercy get more blame than other supports? If you think it's bad now, just imagine how it was when Mercy could res her entire team. There was some real stupid blame Mercy shit going on then. Cause, which is, of course, wow, it really doesn't know, like, what I'm holding. It does sometimes, like, it can't tell depending on how my hand is. Yeah, like, there you go. I don't know why it suddenly decides that's part of the background. It's pretty clearly in my hand. Machines are stupid. Anyway. To be fair, it's very impressive. It works a lot better than my actual green screen did. There's no green screen back here, by the way. This is the NVIDIA broadcast. It just cuts out everything that's behind you. There's no green screen behind me. This is a concrete wall. It's very impressive. So anyway, very logical, of course, to blame Mercy, right? Like, our whole team died. Mercy, what the fuck? Why didn't you res us? Well, why did you all die? Then Mercy wouldn't have needed to res you. There's a tendency for people to fixate on the last mistake that is made, which is, of course, stupid. You should fixate on the first mistake that was made instead, because then you're never even in a position where the last mistake would have mattered. But people fixate on the last mistake. This is the crucial reason that Mercy gets a lot of blame. The context in the thread was about wondering why Mercy gets blamed for not rezzing people, even if Mercy's res is obviously on cooldown. The answer is because they perceive Mercy not rezzing somebody as a mistake, and that is the last mistake, so that is the one they are going to fixate on from their perspective. That's just how it is. People, they worry about the last thing rather than the first thing. They're not wondering, what could I have done to not die? They're wondering, why didn't Mercy res me? Because that's the more immediate thing. And that's basically the whole reason. I don't really have anything else to say about it, to be honest. That's just how it is. Just imagine how bad it was when you could res 5 people, though. So now we gotta wait for this game to finish before we can move on, because I really don't have anything else to say about that. So, I mean, why did I suddenly start playing Street Fighter again? The answer is because I wanted to improve the things that Fighters is bad at teaching you, which is neutral. Because there are so many buttons that just bypass neutral. Street Fighter, rather, is a very neutral-focused game, all grounded footsies. There's very little air stuff going on, except for a couple characters. So I wanted to play this to try and help improve in that area, especially since Strive is Guilty Gear Strive is coming out, which will have similarities to Fighters because it's an anime fighter, but is still more footsies based than Fighters is, so I wanted to take this time to improve at footsies by playing Street Fighter, basically. And it's really hard. I don't have a button I can push in Street Fighter that just takes me to the enemy through any projectiles they were throwing at the time. Have to think about it a little bit more. How terrible is that? Also, very briefly, I just want to point out that Street Fighter's ranks really greatly upset me. So, you might observe that the Laura on the other team is in Ultra Bronze. Does that sound good or bad to you? Because to me, that sounds pretty bad. If somebody is in, like, if you had to if in, like, Overwatch terms, right? What would you describe as being Ultra Bronze? I would describe, if I had to break it up, I'd describe Ultra Bronze as being, like, 500 SR. Right? Like, you're Ultra Bronze. You're more bronze than the average bronze player. It's not like that. Ultra Bronze is the rank right before you go up into Silver. It just goes Bronze, Super Bronze, Ultra Bronze, Silver. And then it keeps doing that as you go up. The points you need to get from one to the other also start increasing exponentially. I just hate the way it is. Like, I hate that it's like you went, because it's so dramatic as well. When you rank up, the lady announcer comes up and she's like, the dramatic music plays and it goes, "You have ranked up to Ultra Bronze." And I'm like, well, now I feel worse about it if we're being honest. Anyway. So thank you very much for watching. If you did, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. More than happy to answer. If you have a question you'd like to see answered on the show, submit it using your preferred method of communication, whatever that may be. Email, comic, ESPN, anything. ESPN is not correct. ESP. I just added the N right at the, whatever. I started streaming on Twitch Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 8 PM EST, 11 EST. There's a channel in the description. If you managed to make it away through the video and somehow still enjoyed it, please like the video and subscribe for more content of middling quality in the future, and hope you found the video helpful.